This special Today's Homeowner podcast is brought to you by National Gypsum. To find out more, you can visit nationalgypsum.com. Matt Gallagher from National Gypsum is with me right now, product manager. And Matt, I'll tell you what, one of the things I'm seeing more and more with homeowners and contractors is, boy, they're really digging into some of the fundamentals and some of the basic components that we used to take for granted. Now things are a lot different, and that's certainly the case with drywall.
It is, Danny. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you start finding out the different types of drywall that are available, just like I did when I built my new house a couple years ago, well, you guys there gave me a great education about that it's just not regular old half-inch drywall anymore. I mean, I was so glad that we used the high-impact drywall that you guys have available through Purple XP in my garage because, well, those doors hit it, the grandkids with their bicycles, all of those things. And boy, 2 years later, it looks fantastic.
That is true. Yeah, we again, not all drywall is created equal, and we try as hard as we can to educate the customers. I'm glad you enjoy that product. I'm glad you're able to put that on your in your garage.
But when you think about some of the harder drywall like this, the impact and abuse type of solutions that you have, because you think about hallways. Hallways always get banged up, especially that hallway coming in from the garage. Then you have, your different areas like your playrooms and stairways, things like that. It really does make a lot of sense when you're ordering that drywall to think about the uses of the different room and then to order the drywall that works the best for that. It certainly has worked very, very well for me. And I know that you guys are kind of very instrumental in getting people to think this way.
Yes, it is. And that's a great, point to bring up that, different areas of a house, believe it or not, actually require, different assemblies and different wall panels. And a lot of times those are overlooked. When you think about renovating a house, there's always a tendency to think about the finished goods or the finished products, and I certainly agree with that. New countertops, new cabinets, maybe even new bathroom hardware. Those are all things that are going to completely transform your space. But some of the things that are overlooked a lot of times is kind of the foundational elements or the foundation of those wall assemblies, and that's where we come in at National Gypsum to provide those specific wall panels.
Well, one of the things that have been fairly standard is using moisture-resistant drywall in damp areas around the home. Certainly the bathrooms, laundry rooms, and more in the kitchens. That's something that is absolute necessity and required in a lot of areas when you have those areas, just to beat down the opportunity for mold and mildew and moisture to have that resistance to it. I think the whole Purple XP product really provide that type of protection.
Sure, yeah. I mean, that's a great point. We again, I would probably allude to that peace of mind, right? If there's some moisture behind the wall, our back paper is also treated with a fungicide both within the paper and with the core to help resist that mold growth. So over time with that wall, you're going to get a much better return on your investment when you're putting that wall partition up.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You hit on something there for sure. Peace of mind. Having that idea that mold and mildew could be forming is not a very comfortable thing. So using the mold and mildew resistant drywall just makes a lot of sense. But I'll tell you another thing I hear a lot about is noise transmission, and the washing machine is just making all kinds of noise. I'll tell you, I use the sound break XP on all the interior walls of my laundry room, all the bathrooms, and even the wall that's common to the outside. And, I have good windows, I have good insulation, I have all of the other things there, but I just have never been in a house where it retains the sound within those rooms better than my house. I mean, and I've got a lot of, big open areas that would tend to echo a little bit or maybe create more sounds. But the Soundbreak XP really does solve a problem that I knew I would have with, some of the loud appliances that you have in a home.
Yeah, Danny, I would tell you that, over the pandemic, this has probably been one of the top phone calls that we've gotten at our technical support line is, how do I make my house quieter? I can tell you from experience with two young girls and a dog that a soundboard would really help me, because I don't like having my kids contribute to my conference calls. So we get a lot of phone calls these days about how do I get a wall quieter? How do I work in a quiet environment now that I'm working from home? So this is a great solution for those homeowners that would like to renovate and maybe make a small office, or even a theater room, something like that, or as you alluded to, a washer and dryer. How do I make that wall quiet so I don't hear the washing machine during the day?
Well, one of the things I thought was very impressive with your research and development, and I've been through all of it there in Charlotte, North Carolina. Pretty impressive how serious you guys take each and every product that you produce. But the sound break, the retrofit type of material. Now, the sound break itself, I guess it is available in 1/2 inch and 5/8, maybe even 3/4.
That's correct. It's available in all three of those thicknesses.
But in the retrofit, is that down to 1/4 inch?
It's a 5/16 board.
5/16. So, to veneer over existing walls, certainly of something that you could do very easily. But the way this is engineered and created and manufactured with it, having that little gel membrane in there, just to me makes sense. That's kind of the extra thing that you need in order for this to resist transmission of sound a little bit better. So I was very impressed with that, and I know that had to have been successful for you guys.
It is. We actually won an innovation award for it last year. Unfortunately with the pandemic, we didn't really get to push the notoriety there. But Danny, you're exactly right. We've innovated a board now to essentially turn your standard wall into a sound break wall without having to remove any panels. It would be on existing construction where you alluded to the gel, which is called a viscoelastic polymer. Mm-hmm. Don't worry, I can't spell it either. But what we do is we actually put that panel over top of an existing wall. You're essentially matching that up with your studs, and then you're caulking around that wall, and you're patching any sort of penetrations. You're essentially patching with sound. So think almost like waterproofing your wall, but in sound, making sure there's no flanking of any sort. And you've turned your wall into a sound break wall.
Yeah, boy, that makes such a difference inside the home with everybody wanting to have their own little area and making sound. Hey, you're listening to a special edition of the Today's Homeowner Podcast. We'll be right back.
Let's talk drywall, a subject so exciting the word dry is literally in its name. I mean, clients are always like, yeah, forget paint color. Let's talk about the part of my wall no one will ever see. Then you're like, but really, let's talk about high-performance purple drywall from National Gypsum. And they're like, yeah, I want to prevent moisture, mold, and mildew. Yeah, I want to reduce sound travel. Yeah, I want to prevent holes. And then they're like, maybe they should call drywall Exciting Wall. And you're like, yeah, you get it. Head over to askforpurple.com to learn more.
Hey, we're talking all about drywall and National Gypsum, and if we say something that you'd like to maybe hear a little bit more about, you can go to nationalgypsum.com. Matt, another thing that we have always been amazed with is the type of resources that you guys provide. Not only the avid do-it-yourselfer, but of course contractors. There's a lot of ways they can pick up the phone or go online and get a lot of resources that you guys have cultivated over the years.
That's correct. And Danny, I was in the field quite a bit, and I can attest to the resources that we had in dealing with our contractors and our dealers and even retailers. So, we have a tremendous support system at National Gypsum, even, when it comes down to the website, as well as all of our technical guides. We offer anything from wood construction to steel stud construction. We talked about sound a little bit. We have a full sound guide for whether it's your renovation remodeler, even to your new builds, where they can look up different partitions and know exactly what they're building. And even kind of bubbles up to our all-encompassing construction guide, which has everything in it. So, what we try to do is provide every resource we possibly can to anybody using our products. And that even goes to, I think you touched on it, our 1-800-NATIONAL line, which is a dedicated crew of individuals that if you call 1-800-NATIONAL, you have somebody picking up the phone and answering whatever condition or problem you may have.
Yeah, that's just fantastic, and that does make a big difference if you're ready to step out there and take on a project of yourself. But also another thing I think about, Matt, is one of the frustrations that a lot of homeowners and contractors have these days pertaining to search engines online. You go and you do Google or whatever your preferred search engine is, and all of a sudden you get so much conflicting information. That's where I always felt like a clearinghouse of information, like you can find at nationalgypsum.com. Is so good, because you guys are not trying to do anything but provide good, straightforward information, and you, the guys, are the ones that know all about it. That's more comforting than just having some guy that has an opinion here and an opinion there. So I'm sure you get a lot of great feedback on all of the information that's available there on the website.
We do. We try to be a trusted resource. As you alluded to, we try to be kind of a single source or a collection of anything a customer may need. And that's even down to, starting their project in the first place. We actually have a material calculator on top of that. So, especially these days when it comes to overbuying or underbuying material, we actually have a calculator that would help with your square footage and kind of guide you to, how many sheets you may need, all the way down to the fasteners and the joint compound.
Boy, that is just perfect. All the things that you guys have done over all these years have really separated you from the pack a good bit. And also, want to mention that, National Gypsum is the service provider of products made by Gold Bond. You've seen Gold Bond around, Proform, and Permabase. We've used Permabase a lot in bathrooms and so forth. So all of these products are operated under the National Gypsum umbrella. So when you're out looking at different materials, just remember Gold Bond, Proform, Permabase, and of course National Gypsum and nationalgypsum.com. Matt Gallagher, thanks so much for being with us, and I know we spawned some ideas so that people will go by nationalgypsum.com and find out exactly what they need for their next project.
Thanks so much, Danny. I appreciate you having me. I had a blast.
Great, thank you.
All right.
Let's talk drywall, a subject so exciting the word dry is literally in its name. I mean, clients are always like, yeah, forget paint color. Let's talk about the part of my wall no one will ever see. Then you're like, but really, let's talk about high-performance purple drywall from National Gypsum. And they're like, yeah, I want to prevent moisture, mold, and mildew. Yeah, I want to reduce sound travel. Yeah, I want to prevent holes. And then they're like, maybe they should call drywall Exciting Wall. And you're like, yeah, you get it. Head over to askforpurple.com to learn more.